I was saying about, I guess, yeah, if we think about sort of what you mentioned about sort of gender identity, you know, there's different facets, isn't there, from sexual orientation, gender identity, and sort of the differences of those. And I think for different people, some are more familiar with those terms than others. What would you say are the ways that people could further educate their understanding of those sorts of facets of people's identity and that side of things?
I think, first of all, just go on Google and just look at the difference between sex, gender, and sexuality. Like, they're completely different things. And I think some people, I think it's a conversation we have, and people are like, oh, I know what we're talking about. But if you actually stopped and said, okay, so what is your sex? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I think that's probably the most important part of the conversation for me, because the world kind of goes off sex, which is science, which is, you know, at the minute they're like pretty convinced there's only two options, binary options, which is just like an arbitrary tick box moment that we're given at birth. Once you've been born, you never really need to think about your sex again. It's not that important. You have no control over it, right? It's just like a body lottery. It's like yes or no, A or B, 50-50, like that's that. And beyond that, it's not that important, but like society's set up, and sex is the number one thing that is like either used for us, if you're a white man, or used against us, if you're anyone else, okay? And I think just stop getting so hung up on sex. And then gender identities and sexuality are more fluid, self-determined, like we're in control. Like that's our thing. And then they cross over, they correlate, they can be separate for someone, they can be not separate for someone. It's very personal. So just like get over sex and just focus more on gender identity and sexuality. That's my take on that.
I mean, it's funny because like I'm asexual, I'm like cisgender, but people assume that I'm transgender when I say it because they think that asexual is a gender identity. Yeah. So like if I like mention on social media, there'll always be someone commenting going, you're a man or a woman. And I'm like, that's not the conversation. It's not the conversation that we're having. You're mad about something that I didn't actually say. So that tends to happen quite a lot. And I think it's kind of funny how people like really don't know what the distinction is between sexual orientation and gender and all those kind of things. I think it's not even, I guess, well, Googling it is definitely helpful, but also you kind of have to be careful when you are Googling it because you might Google, you know, transgender issues and end up on some gender critical like TERF website and not even realize because it's not depicted as that. Yeah. So I think it's always, I guess, going to like charities and organizations that are by the groups of people that you're looking into is helpful because like, for example, even about asexuality, like there are so many incorrect definitions by people that claim to be experts because they're like, they work in sexology or something like that. That doesn't make you an expert in every single type of sexual orientation in the world. So I think looking at things by the community that you're looking into is always helpful.